Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to refresh naturally curly hair. I'm going to take you through the routine that I usually do on second, third, and sometimes even fourth day hair. That's after I've washed it and I'm trying to get the style to last multiple days to where I don't have to wash my hair. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you haven't already seen my curly hair routine and my nighttime routine for curly hair, you have to watch those first because then you understand actually how my hair can end up looking somewhat decent even though I've already slept on it and it's been like a day or two since it's been washed. Definitely have to check out that nighttime routine video because the secrets are all in how I actually sleep with my hair to make sure that the style lasts and I don't have to do too much work in the morning. This is a 5-minute routine, so it literally only takes me 5, maybe 10 if my hair is pretty tangly, but for the most part it's very quick. It's something you can do in the morning when you're rushed for work. So as you can see, my hair doesn't look bad. That's because I styled it actually kind of late in the day yesterday, so it hasn't been that many hours since I've washed my hair, so it still looks pretty decent. So it might not be the best day to show you actually how I fully refresh my hair when it's really bad, but hopefully this still helped. But I definitely have some frizz happening and it's just a little crazy and some of the curls are different lengths and stuff like that. It's just a little bit crazy and a little bit frizzy. So it just needs a little bit of a refresh. If I don't refresh my hair every single day when I'm not styling it, the style actually won't last the whole day and it will be worse the next day. So I still try to refresh even though it might not look like I need to refresh, if that makes sense. So we're gonna go into my bathroom and I'm gonna show you what I do really quickly. So you can use a spray bottle to wet your hair, but I find it's easier just to wet my hands and just kind of detangle my hair a little bit. Not everyone detangles their curls. Sometimes they just scrunch some water and add some more product, and that's great if you don't have to. But I don't know what it is about my hair texture, maybe because it's kind of fine. It tangles up really easily even though I take all the precautions to not get it tangled. So all I do is add a little bit of water to my palms. You could also use a spray bottle like I said, and I add a little bit of conditioner to my palm, and that just helps give me a little bit of slip. That way I can detangle with my fingers. And to note, I'm actually not detangling my hair all the way. I'm just kind of running my hands over my hair. I'm just using like a certain motion. It's hard to describe, but I'm not like pulling my fingers all the way through my curls. I don't want to actually separate my curls. I'm just kind of like picking up individual curls and I'm feeling if they have knots, and I'm just kind of separating them out a little bit and making sure I get the knot out without like ruining the shape of the curl, if that makes sense. It takes a little bit of practice, but you basically don't want to just start at the top and fully detangle your hair like you would if you were in the shower. This is kind of just like finger detangling, to where I'm feeling for any knots or any like frizzy areas, and I'm just kind of smoothing those over to where I'm taming them down, trying to remove the tangles a little bit without fully pulling them apart to where you'd have to full on restyle your hair. So pretty much my biggest tip with this, I guess, is to not go crazy and not get it too wet, because then you'll feel like you're restyling your hair and you're kind of defeating the purpose. So I'm also kind of scrunching some of that conditioner throughout my hair. That helps for any dry or frizzy areas. Sometimes I don't use conditioner, it just depends on how tangly it is. I'm just using some of my Diva Curl 1 condition, that's one of my favorites. In some previous videos that I've done on how I refresh my curls, you might have seen where I mix some conditioner and water in a spray bottle and I shake it up and make kind of like a leave-in spray. You can totally do that too. I'm just kind of being lazy and want this to be quick, so just putting a little bit on my hands and finger detangling, mostly underneath where I get a lot of tangles. So like I said, you can totally skip this step if you don't feel like you need to detangle, and you can just scrunch some water throughout your hair. But you definitely want to add some water because water will help reactivate that product. It'll make it kind of not crunchy, but it'll give a little bit of a cast again, and you can reshape your curls. It'll help tame down frizz. And then when you put some more product on over top, it will create that hold because your hair was wet underneath when you're adding the product. Just like if you were to style and wash your hair, you would add the product when your hair is wet. So that definitely helps give it a little bit more hold and help reshape your curls. So for the products that I'm using, these are some of my all-time favorites that I use every single day on my hair because they're just so awesome. I'm first going to use the Living Proof Curl Defining Styling Cream. This is the only product that's different than my previous curly hair routine that I did, so if you watched that first and you're wondering why I'm using this, I just replaced that other cream that I used with this one because it has a little bit more hold and it just gives me more definition. So you can skip using this and go straight to the gel I'm about to show you, but I like to just add a little bit to my palm. And then I'm going to take some of the Diva Curl Ultra Defining Gel, and this is a huge bottle because they stocked me up, which was so nice of them. But this is a light hold gel. Well, it's more of a full hold, but it doesn't leave your hair crunchy, which I like. I just did one small pump of this, and I just rubbed the two together in my palms. And that creates like a cocktail, I guess you would call it, of a cream gel, which is an excellent texture for my type of curls because it doesn't weigh it down too much. gives me enough hold, and then I'm getting some more definition with using that curl cream. I feel like adding the curl cream just makes it a little bit softer and not too crunchy or hard and gives me a little more definition. But a lot of times if I'm really in a hurry, I'll just use the ultra defining gel and scrunch that through my hair. So I'm just kind of working that through. I'm definitely adding it on the areas where I remember there was some frizz or that it needed some extra attention to it. So I just kind of remember how it was before I wet my hair. That way I can know where I need to apply it. It's usually like frizzy in this area, and definitely underneath where I detangled, I have to definitely add product to that area to help reactivate those curls because they're pretty wet and they might have gotten pulled out some when I was detangling. So I definitely add more to that. And I also just take a little bit more of the ultra defining gel and I just smooth that over the crown area and around my part because I get a lot of frizz in that area up top, especially from the day before where I was like diffusing and stuff and styling. I get a lot of frizz up there. So I'm just kind of going over that lightly, and I'm working in small sections so I don't add too much product. Because you have to be pretty careful when you're refreshing because you don't want to end up adding too much product, and like I said before with detangling, you just don't want to touch your hair too much and go overboard with it, or else you're just going to create more of a mess, I guess, and you'll want to just restyle your hair. So you're just kind of adding a little bit more product where you feel like you still need some. And also the method that I do is more like a smoothing. I'm not like pulling my hands through my hair. I don't want to separate or mess up the curl shape. I'm just kind of smoothing it over, and then I scrunch a little bit at the bottom to help encourage that curl back. And again, I'm not coating my whole head with more product. I'm only applying it where I feel like I need a little bit more control and tame some frizz. So this is what it looks like when I'm done with actually adding more product. You can see the curls are a little bit stretched out from that detangling. They look a little bit damp and wet. And my hair, the way my hair is, it just doesn't shrink up very easily without diffusing. Like if I just leave it like this, I mean, it still looks great, but it's definitely a looser curl. It looks a lot longer, which could be good if that's what you're going for, but I personally don't like how stringy that it looks after this, especially since I didn't wet my whole head. I feel like they're just uneven of the lengths. So I like to diffuse my hair. I don't always do this, and I didn't used to do this either because I don't want to use heat on my hair every day, but sometimes I'll even do it on cold to where I'm not even using any more heat. But I just use my Bionic diffuser, which is my favorite because it helps add a lot of volume. But I put it on the lowest speed setting, and sometimes I even do cold, but I did hot today because it just goes a lot quicker. And I just diffuse underneath. That just helps shrink up those curls to where they just look a lot better and more defined, and it gets to dry right away, so then I can see what areas that might still need some more product once it's dry. So you can see the difference on each side of my hair. If I don't diffuse it, how long and stringy it looks compared to the side that is diffused. Just looks a lot better, but it's all in your preference and what you have time to do. I don't usually do up around the top area because it's not that wet usually as the ends, and it's not stringy or anything, so it doesn't bother me. But sometimes I'll do around the top, or I'll even flip my hair upside down to get some more volume. Even though my hair is pretty much dry at the top, I still use the diffuser sometimes to create some more volume, if that makes sense. So now that I'm done diffusing, I just kind of fluff my hair at the roots. So I take my fingers and I go underneath of my hair. You don't want to go on top because it'll create more frizz, but I just go underneath and I just separate that hair from my scalp, because sometimes when you're adding products, it can kind of get stuck to your head, and even though you don't realize that, it can make your hair look flat on top. So I just kind of flip my head upside down and I try to shake it out. That way it just shakes out some of that product and gets rid of some of that cast that's on your hair from the gel, and it just gives you a little bit more volume. But just be careful not to create too much frizz when you're doing this. So since my hair still has some frizz and it drives me nuts, although I try to just embrace the frizz and not worry about it, I'm gonna add a little bit more of that ultra defining gel, just a tad bit to my fingers. I'm not adding any more water. I'm applying the gel to my dry hair, which seems weird to some people, but it actually gives you a lot of hold, and I use it almost like you would a hairspray. So I'm just touching up the areas around my part where I can see it's pretty frizzy, and any areas where I can still see some frizz. And pretty much I don't have a lot of frizz like it looks like I do on camera because the lights are behind me and it's just showing my hair texture, but overall you can't really see any frizz in real life, which is great, and it just has more definition and stuff. It looks a little bit more tamed compared to my hair before and after. So that is it. It's really easy and fast. I can do this in 5 minutes or less in the morning. If my hair is looking really bad, like by the third and fourth day that I'm still trying to keep this style, I'll do like one of my easy curly hairstyles. I'll put that video for you down below, but it's just different ways that I pin up around the crown of my hair so it doesn't look too flat, and just really quick things that you can do. Or I'll end up having to do more detangling and more like diffusing and stuff to help those curls last a little bit longer. Another step I forgot to show is sometimes if the ends are looking really dry, I use the Veda Damage Remedy Split End Repair because your hair can get kind of dry after a while with curly hair. Some people will take some essential oil or some olive oil or jojoba oil or whatever serum, if you have a hair serum that you use, and you can just kind of scrunch that on the ends, and that helps with the dry ends. It also helps break up that cast a little bit so it doesn't feel like you have too much gel in your hair, and it just helps add some more softness back because it can feel pretty dry towards the end, like when you need to rewash it. So this split end remedy works so well. I don't know if it actually repairs your split ends, but I can just tell a difference. It almost feels like I'm applying a lotion to my hair, if that makes sense, and you apply it on dry hair, so it's a perfect finishing step when I'm refreshing if it feels a little bit dry. So that's an optional step, but it's just something that helps a little bit, especially in the winter months. So that is it for my routine. I'll put all my curly hair videos in the description box down below. I have a playlist of all my curly hair videos if you want to see all my previous routines. I have routines using all Diva Curl products. I have some using all Living Proof, whatever you want to see. I'll be sure to put these products that I use also on the blog post that goes with this video, and that'll be the first link in the description box if you're wondering. I would love to hear any video requests that you have for me. Definitely leave them in the comments down below and thumbs up everyone else's so I can see which ones you guys really want to see. So thank you all so much for watching, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye everyone.